everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Connie, and you are with the Artisan Company. So, today, oh my, this is what is on the desk. We have another hat today, and I am so excited about this hat. Very different than the last hat that we had. And so, let me tell you what's on the desk, and we'll get started. Okay, so with this hat today, let me pull it over here, knock a little of the leather off of it. I've been playing with it. Today, we have this beautiful, it's almost like a cross between, it's not really a winter white, but it's kind of a creamy, almost with a slight pink undertone to it. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if the camera picks it up. But anyway, so I got this at Hobby Lobby. It had this beautiful brown braided piece of leather on it, which you can get leather already braided or you can braid it yourself. It doesn't matter. But this one was done really well. So I took it off the hat, but I might use it on the hat again in a different way. So I'm going to set that over to the side. But anyway, this beautiful hat is what we're going to be working with today. And what I decided to do is put stones around the edge of the brim, right around in here. I'm going to put some stones on there today. So the black hat that we did a few weeks ago had bone and seed beads on it. This one's going to have more stone. So let's go look at that. So this is what I've got. I have these beautiful strands of pink feldspar, and these are an 18 by 13 millimeter. Are those not just absolutely beautiful? My eye immediately went to these stones. I had them hanging on the wall. I got these at Fire Mountain, the several strands of them from Fire Mountain. So they may still have some, I don't know, but you can go put in their feldspar stone and see what they have. But I decided to use these because I like that flat square look to them. And they have a little slight pink undertone in there with some black and some charcoal grays in it and a little bit of an ivory color. And I just thought they were stunning and beautiful. And this is what we're going to use. Okay, so I'll put those to the side. You will need a focal point, and what I'm using on the focal point this time is a piece of obsidian stone that's been carved into an archaic style arrowhead. You can use anything you want or not. You don't have to use anything as a focal point to the front, but I'm using this, and it is, let's see here, how big is this? It's about 3¼ inches long, and it's about an inch across piece. It's not real thick, you can see, but oh, it's beautiful. It's going to bring the black out in the feldspar. Okay, you will need some sinew, as always. You will need a piece of what I call patch leather, and I tried to pick a leather that kind of matched the hat. It's very close to the color of the hat. This has a little more yellow under it, but it's okay. Nobody's going to see it from the outside. It's to protect our stitching on the inside. So you'll need a patch of leather. You will need some black seed beads, and these are Rocals. I got these from Fire Mountain. They are a 6.0 Rocal black, shiny. Then I've got these beautiful kind of coppery colored daisy spacers, and let me see here, I forget what they are. I think they're a 6 millimeter as well, but I'm using the coppery ones. There's some that are a lighter color in here, but I'm using the darker copper ones. The other thing you will need is some E6000 glue. You will need a needle to stitch with. You will also need a clamp to put on one end of your beadwork while you're working on it. You will need some embellishments for the back, so that could be feathers. I'm going to use some of these cones right here. I got these at Crazy Crow, and they're what I call a small version of a jingle cone. I've got brass and copper here, and they come in sizes. I've got about the half inch to an inch size of that. Just in case, I've got some 6 millimeter um, copper beads, just in case I need these for some reason, just in the back of my head. And let me see, is that everything we need? I'm looking, I'm looking, I'm looking. I think that's everything. So let's get our heads wrapped around it and we'll get started. Alrighty, the first thing you want to do is take your hat and take a piece of string or something and measure around the perimeter of where you're going to be working, and make sure that it's down right next to the brim. You want where the brim and the top of the hat connect, you want it down there tight. That's where your main stones are going to be. Once you get that, just clip that piece of thread and you'll know how long your beadwork's going to be. Okay, so hold on to that. The next thing you're going to do is, since I've been working with these stones, what I did was I went ahead, just like I do with any project. I don't care what it is. If I'm working with stones, I'm going to unstring all those things and I'm going to lay them all out by size and shape and color. So we'll have similar things together. And let me pull this down here just a hair. All right, got that right in the screen there. Okay, so in the front of the hat, I decided that this was a bigger stone out of the whole strand of stones that I had. So I wanted that one to be front and center. And then I went ahead, and these two were the next most accurate as far as shape and everything, and has a lot of black. We'll spit. Baby, it's been raining all day and she has not been able to go out. Hang on just a minute. Okay, it stopped raining just enough that she could go out. Okay, so back to here. So what I did was I made this my focal stone, and that's after I went through the whole strand. These are my 3 focal stones, and then these are the next ones in line, because that's going to be front and center, the very first thing somebody looks at when they're looking at the hat on somebody's head directly on. So you want those front stones to be front and center and pretty perfect. Okay, so the next thing I did was I went through and I sorted all the stones into sections. So this is my front and center piece. This will be on the left side. This will be on the right. Left side, right. Left, right. If we need this many. Okay, we may not need this many, but they're all sorted out by size, shape, and color. Very important to do that. You can make it irregular if you want to, and that's okay. That is a style. But for some reason, I kind of like things a little more uniform on a project like this. And so this is what I've done. And also, when you're doing jewelry, it really does make a difference in how your piece looks. So take the time for the details. Jewelry is all about the details, all about the details. Okay, next thing. Alrighty, the pattern I decided to do, and I'm starting in the middle here, is I've got a stone in the middle. Then I have one of the copper colored daisy beads, and then one of the black seed beads. A stone, a copper colored daisy bead, a black seed bead. A stone, copper colored daisy bead, a black seed bead. That is going to be my pattern around the whole entire band. All right, going to put that focal point on. The next thing on the plate is to put the focal point on, and I'm looking at this very centerpiece right here. You can see where the hat caves in. So I'm looking at the centerpiece right here, and I'm kind of eyeballing where I want it to go, because I know that the feldspar down here is going to be kind of tall. You can see it's going to stick up about like that. So I'm going to try to make sure that this has some room to breathe in between here. Set that back down. All right, so you're going to take a pen or a pencil. It doesn't matter which. I think I'll do a pencil on this one just to make sure I don't have too much of a mark there, especially on this white. Okay, so I'm going to be stitching across right here on the base of the point and on the top. So I'll need 2 holes up here. It's kind of weird doing this upside down. All right, so I've marked my holes where the pendant's going to go. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of sinew and I'm going to do what we did on the last hat and some of the other projects. The sinew is wide and flat, so we want to make it into uh, a thin piece of thread. So we're going to twist it like this, get that started, and we're going to pull with one hand and twist with the other. So it'll make a straight line of thread. Just like so. And I'm telling you, y'all, this will give your hands a workout. If you don't have muscles in your hands, you will after you work with this kind of stuff. Okay. And then the next thing you want to do is take a paper towel and wipe your fingers off because there is a waxy thing on the sinew. All right, I'm going to go through the bottom. I'll thread my needle if this will go through here. Hopefully it will. Up. Let me clip it. Make sure I can get a clean edge on it. Like so. Flatten it just a little bit. There it goes. All right. Okay, so I'm going to start on the inside of the hat in here. Ooh. And I can kind of see where I'm poking right there. All right, you can see I'm coming through. Pull it, but don't pull it all the way. Don't pull the thread all the way out. Okay, you need to leave some in there. All right, and then we're going to go through the other hole like so. There it goes. And we'll pull it down almost all the way. And this piece has a little bend to it, so I'm going to do the bend down towards the, there it goes right there. Okay, I'm going to go back through again if I can find my hole. All right, I'm holding it with my finger. Whoops, oops, oops, oops. Don't move. From the inside, go through that hole again. We'll do this because I can pull it a lot easier. There it goes. All right, and back through the other hole. And pull it. Oops, don't want to lose my, hang on. There it goes. All right, let me do this. I can get back in here now. All right. now I can put that back up under there. You can also do this too if you need to or feel you need to. You can always take your centerpiece and take your E6000 and glue it down on there first. Let it dry and then come back and stitch it. You can do that as well. Okay. All right, so let me turn it back over. Got that down there pretty good. All right, we'll go down here and find my other hole, which is about right there. There it goes. Right on it too. Yes, sir. That's the other one right there. It's easier going through with the needle than it is pulling it through the second time because, all right, sorry. I'm out of the frame. I know I'm out of the frame. I'm sorry. Come on. Oops. There it is. All right. Put this back through right there. I'm going to lose my thing. Hang on. Let me pull that through right there. All right. And this one will go back through on the other side. I'm going ahead and poking that through there because I know I'm going back through. I was like going, this lady's nuts. She doesn't know what she's doing. I really do. I really do. All right, let me get back underneath there. Whoops, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Lost my little doodad. Okay. Pull that back through right there. I'm trying to get that sinew right there between those notches. And there it goes. Hallelujah. All right. Got it on there. Hallelujah. I think about Medea when I hear. Okay, last one. I'm going to go back through this hole over here. Pull it through. Okay. All right, so I think that's pretty tight. We'll take my, you can see what it looks like there, inside. All right. And I'm making sure this is pretty daggone tight in there. So I'm pulling it really tight. Next thing is I'm just going to tie a knot in this, like you would tie on your shoe. Tie it really tight, pull it really tight. Tie in a double knot, like that. Okay. Then you're going to clip the ends. But not all the way down. You don't want it too close to the knot. So it should look something like that. Doesn't matter how many ever times you want to stitch it, you can. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our piece of leather, our scrap leather here, and we're going to raise this part of the hat, the little place that fits around your head there, and we're going to size up the leather because you're trying to cover what you just stitched, okay? So I've got, it's about that wide, and I'm just eyeballing it. I'm going to make this a little more straight. Spit, baby. Baby. No crying. Mama can't stop right now. All right, and then I'm going to put it down here again to make sure it's sized right. It is correct. It's covering all the stitching. So I want to round the edges, flip it over, turn and cut, turn and cut, flip it, turn and cut. And then you want to clean up the edges. I'm just cleaning that little edge right there. So I'm going to take my lighter. You don't have to do this, but I always do. And I'm going to burn off any of those rough edges where I've been cutting it, where it has a little fray to it there. All right. Next thing, you are going to take your E6000 glue. I'm going to set the hat over here for just a minute so I don't get anything on it. I'm going to open this up. Take your little spreader thing, whether it's a toothpick or just whatever you have there to spread it with. And I'm going to spread it on the back of the leather. And it doesn't need to be real thick, just a thin layer on there, because it's going to adhere to the hat pretty good. And what this is going to do is protect your stitching that you just did so that it doesn't get caught on anything and unravel or anything of that nature. That's all this is for. All right. Make sure you get the corners and the edges really good. Nice little bit. Close that up for the second. Trying to get this little corner down here. You don't want it to pull up anywhere. All right, set that to the side. And then just very carefully make sure you don't have any on your hands. That's why I always tell you to wear an apron. You're going to take it, and you're going to pull this little part up, and this will center right in the middle right there. And it's going to cover all of the stitching that you just did. If you can see what I did, that was a difficult thing to do on camera. Oh, lordy, lordy. All right, and just keep pressing it down with your finger till all the glue gets adhered really well. All right. Then fold that down. Make sure there's no little tidbits in there. Okay. So it should look like that. You can see it's covering everything up in there, which is good. That will secure it. Okay. Next thing. One more thing I'm going to do real quick. If you used sinew to stitch this on, which I'm hoping you did because of the durability of it, if you use thread, do not do this. But if you use sinew, I'm going to burn off real quick just a little bit of that wax on there. And it makes it adhere better to the object. Okay. All righty. So there we go. There's our centerpiece. Next. Okay. We're getting ready to start on the stone part of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the middle. And I've taken my little clip here and clipped one in so I don't have to do 152 bead pickup if I drop something. Okay, so I'm just going to start with what I had here in the middle. Remember I told you I had stones there. Let me get that in there. There it goes. Okay, so I'm starting in the middle right now. And working to my left would be your right. So I have the little daisy, a little black bead, the next stone. And remember your little sinew, sometimes you'll have to twist it. Then we'll have the daisy, the little black bead, the next stone, the little daisy, get my black beads open here. I'm really excited about this design. I think this is going to be fantastic. All right, there we go. Black bead, a stone, a little daisy, black bead, and that is the first half of the center, like that. Okay, I'm going to put a clip right over here on this side, and then I'm going to do my right. I guess it would be to your left. Okay, so I've got the daisy, a little black bead, a stone. This feldspar is absolutely gorgeous. When I bought this, I did not know I was going to be doing a hat. But needless to say, here we are. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, a daisy, a black bead, a stone, a daisy, a black bead, and a stone, and a stone. Hold on, guys. Oh. My husband just walked in.
Sorry.
All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption. My husband didn't know I was out here filming. So anyway, okay, so I went ahead and decided to go ahead and string the whole entire strand of stones just to expedite some time for the video. But you can see how beautiful this looks. Oh my goodness, I don't have it attached yet, so I'm just kind of showing you what it looks like there. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn all the stones up flat so these won't be laying down like this, although you could lay them down flat and that would be absolutely stunning as well. But on this one, we're going to move them out, turn them all up like that. And then we're going to tie this end off right here on the back. We're going to tie that off really tight, and then we'll go to the next step. So let me make sure everything's turned up on the stones all the way around. Everything's up. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take each end of this sinew and I'm just going to tie an overhanded knot like you tie on your shoe. I'm trying to make sure I've got enough stones in there, and I do. Okay. Now the trick to this is if your stones are standing up, the trick to this is to make sure they continue to stand up when you're tying. So, all right, so there they go. They're all standing, I believe, all the way around. Yes. Okay, I'm just tying a knot as tight as I can tie it because you want it to be really taut. All right. There, and I'm going to tie another one. And remember, we're not going to clip these off. We're going to leave these on there because you may need that for embellishment. All right, so we've got it all done all the way around, like so. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our E6000 glue and we're going to go and put just a tiny spot of glue underneath each one of these stones. Nothing difficult, but don't use a big glob of glue. You want to use something rather small. I'm trying to make sure that my center stone is centered up with my centerpiece right here. Trying to make sure that's centered up right there. All right. And I had 8 stones left over out of the grouping that I had done. All right. So I'm just going to take a small little tiny, about like that, just a little tiny bit. Okay. And I'm going to bend that stone out just a little bit and put that blob of glue behind there and press it down with my finger. Just like we did the bone pieces with the other hat. Okay. The next one, just go to the next one and go all the way around the hat, just like that. Press them into the hat. Boy, this is beautiful right here. Not something you would see everywhere, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for something that's different. And this right here is stunning. Oh my gosh, if somebody were to give me this as a Christmas gift, I'd be thrilled. So, think outside of the box when it comes to doing things like this. I'm not sure what feathers I'm going to put on here yet, but we'll see. Wow, wow, wow. This is so beautiful. I'm so excited, guys. I'm just so excited. Pressing it in, pressing it in. Go to the next one. Press it in. Now the E6000 will take a little while to dry. So once you do this, you might as well go have a cup of coffee or a nice tea. You know, read something you need to catch up on for a few minutes. Pet your animals. Take a nap. 10-minute, 15-minute nap. Whatever. And let this set really good before you move to the next thing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm continuing to press these down as I'm going with my finger. And I'm going to go to the next side and glue all that down, and then I'll be back. Well, I'm still letting these dry, and I'm still pressing them down some with my hands. And this is probably a good overnight drying process, but nonetheless, I'm going to keep moving. Okay, you remember the braided black that was on the hat when I bought it? Okay, I took that off, untied it. Let me get this little piece of glue off of it they had on there, and I untied it and made one big strip. Now, you don't have to have anything braided. You can just have a piece of leather or any other kind of anything that you think is really cool, okay, depending on what you're doing. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on the top of the band that I've already done. So I'm going to layer it up here on the top, just like that, all the way around. And I'm going to glue that down to the top of the stone band that I did. Okay. So let me get this even right here. I want to make sure my ends are even. So I want to make sure I have the same amount of leather to tie on each side. All right, and I'm pressing this down so it's next to the piece of stone. And remember, I still have my sinew here that I'm going to put something on too. All right, I'm kind of pulling this taut, making sure that it doesn't twist. And I'm going to put a clip on it to hold it steady as I'm going. Okay. All right, so it should look something like this at this juncture. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and take my E6000 and I'm going to go underneath here very gently and just kind of tack it down all the way around. All right, so here we go. And it doesn't take a lot, so don't do a big glob. Let me do this real quick. The E6000 will dry fairly quickly inside the cap, so I'm cleaning off that edge. I'm cleaning off the end of my little spread there. There. Okay. Now, there we go. Whoop. Come on back in there, baby. That was coming out fast. Okay, so you can see I just have a little bit. You can also do this with a hot glue gun, but at this juncture, I'm just going to use my E6000, and I'm just bending it out just a smidgen, not much, and I'm just spreading a little bit there, and I'm pushing it down with my finger and pushing it towards the stones. Okay. So I want it to be sitting pretty much on the top of those stones right there. All right. I got just a little smidgen of glue. I'm going to take that off right there. All right. There it goes. So that's nice and clean. I'm going to press that down. I'm going to move to the next section. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Spread that down a little section like that. And then press it with my finger. And I can see just a little smidgen of glue right there. So I'm going to wipe it off with my little needle here. You can use a toothpick if you want to. Okay, that got it. All right, next section. Just going to bend it down just a smidgen right there on the edge. And we'll spread a little section right there and press it down. Alrighty. Okay. I'm going to do one more little section for you. You can do this too. You can take something like this. If this helps you. Whoop. And you can pull it out like that. And stick it down in there like so. Run it down just a little edge. And then close it back up. Just like that. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go around this part of the band and I'll be back. Okay. Got that done. And you can see I've got it tacked down all the way around. Still needs to dry. And I cannot emphasize more about letting something dry. Okay. Because the E6000 is an excellent adherent, but you do need to give it time to cure. So there's where we are. Okay, next thing are the embellishments on the back. We're going to do the first of the embellishments. And remember I told you you needed some 6mm copper beads? Well, here's where they're going to go. Okay, so what I've done here on this first side, you remember the pieces of sinew that we had right here? Okay, that's what I'm working on first. And let me see if I can hold this up where you can see it a little better. I don't know if you can or not, but anyway, you remember I tied the knot right here on it? Okay, so I just put a little dot of glue right there just to hold that knot. Then I took two more of the little daisy beads and pulled both strands of the sinew through those two daisy beads. Then I put another black seed bead right here, and then I knotted that seed bead off. Right there's a knot. Okay, and then I separated the two pieces of sinew, and then I strung this side, and I'm getting ready to string this side. So I put two beads here, two glass beads, copper, the seed bead, copper, the seed bead, copper, all the way down. Okay. And it doesn't have to have any function at all except just something fun. Okay. So let me put, let's see here. I put two seed beads on that one. I think I'll put one seed bead on this one because I want it to have an uneven look to it. I don't want it to be matchy matchy. And so I'm just going to bead copper and black and copper and black all the way down till I get fairly close to the end, but I don't want it to overlap the brim of the hat. I want it to come just to the brim of the hat. My little feathers over here. Still haven't decided what type of feather yet to use. I'm just kind of playing with them. Or where I'm even going to put them yet. I'm just, that's the creative part about it. There is no wrong or right on this. It's what do you like? What is it that you see in your head? Because what you see in your head is not going to be the same thing I see in mine. So, and that's the good thing about creativity. Yes, it's the way it's supposed to be. We all have something to contribute. All right, so you can see I'm getting close to the brim, but not quite. So I'm going to do one more black, one more copper, and one more black. See where that lands me? Pretty close right there. Okay. Let me turn this. Then I'm just going to tie a little overhanded knot like that. It's almost like a half knot. And I'm going to pull that all the way down to the black seed bead. And I'm going to do it 2 or 3 times because I want to build up a big old knot down there on the bottom. Pull it right there. There we go. Okay, so I've got this part of it. Want to make sure it's fluid. Okay. Then I'm going to clip the end of the sinew off fairly close to the knot. Then I'm going to take my trusty lighter right here and I'm going to burn off that knot on the end. And it will catch fire. That's okay. It'll start melting, and then press it down with your finger and shape it with your finger, just like that. Okay. Now, if your fingers are tender, it will burn when you touch it, just so you'll know. All right, so I've got that part done. Getting to the tail end. Got this little guy done right here. That's what it looks like. Now I'm going to work on this leather piece right here. All right, what I decided to do with the leather band, once I got it all glued down, is I just tied a big knot right here on the end. Nothing fancy. I just knotted it off. That's all I did. Then you remember I had those cones, those jingle cones. You can also buy these cones right here. Let me take some out here. At Michael's. These are little cones also that you can purchase at Michael's. Now the top of it is not open as wide as this one. You can see there's a big difference in the holes there. So that's why I usually use the ones from Crazy Crow, because these are going to be hard to work with. But if you got a itty bitty skinny piece of leather, this would be great. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking, you can see I took this cone, pushed it up on here, and I'm going to snip the ends of the leather so it's got an angle to it, like we always do with leather. And let me see, I'll take this cone right here and I'm going to push it, the three ends of the leather, down in the top, and I'm going to start twisting the cone and pushing it onto the leather. And eventually you'll see it coming out of the bottom like so, and then you can pull it like that. And let me see, where do I want this to land? I think it may be about right there. I don't want them to be even. And then I'm going to take my, this is just the black crow beads that I was telling you about when we did the choker the other day, the glass Czechoslovakian cut crow beads. Now, in this instance, you can do the India cut ones because it doesn't matter. You're not having to make something line up. But it's the same thing with this one. We're going to put all three ends of the leather in there, twist it, and then pull it. All right. And there you go with that. And then I'm going to cut this piece of the leather off the end. And then with the cones, the next thing you're going to do is take a flat nose plier, and you're going to go to the end of the cone here, and you're just going to mash a little tiny end of it down just like that. And that keeps it from sliding up and down on your leather. Just a little tiny one, just like that. Okay. Now, one thing you may want to do, you can tell this was tied for quite some time, so it'll work its way out eventually. But if you know, a lot of times your leather is not tied. But I'm gonna clip a little bit more of this leather off, and then I'm gonna stick a little bit of glue up in there, maybe a jeweler's glue up in there, just to adhere it to the bead. Or you can unravel this too and knot it if you want to. You can also take a little spot of the E6000. Since we've been using that, I'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, just a little tiny spot. Then you're going to take the end of your crow bead, push the leather to the side as much as you can, and kind of work that glue up underneath the bead. Wipe off any excess that you have, and then let that dry. And once it dries, it's on there. Okay, just a little bit more glue. I'm going to hold this end. I'm going to open up my bead right there. And some of it will go up into the cone too, and that's fine. Wipe off your excess. Well, I'm telling you, that's why you need an apron, people. I never work without an apron. Partially because I never know what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so we've got these guys on. Next thing I'm going to do is feathers. Well, guys, this is it. Woohoo! Okay, I'm putting my feathers on. And it was a kind of tough to decide what to do with the feathers, but I decided on these kind of exotic looking. These are chicken feathers. They're kind of exotic looking in their style, but furnace hackles are another thing you can use that are curvy like this in colors like this. Okay, but buy your feathers if you're not collecting them out as you're walking and doing things like that. Like my dove feathers, and sometimes I'll get some crow feathers or blackbird feathers or blue jay or things like that as I'm walking or working around my bird feeders. If you're not doing that kind of collection of feathers, make sure that you purchase feathers from a reputable company online. Okay. Um, Also, you can also purchase simulated feathers too that look very authentic. I know Crazy Crow carries feathers that are birds of prey that look like birds of prey. Let me put it that way. Because if you wind up putting hawk feathers, eagle feathers, osprey, owl, anything like that, those are technically illegal by the Game and Fish Commission of the United States. Okay, so you don't want to get flagged at some restaurant by a game warden and fining you a bunch of money for having feathers that are illegal. Okay, so if you want to use the eagle or hawk or owl or something like that, go to Crazy Crow or Google in simulated birds of prey feathers, and you will find them. Okay, so if you want to do that, all right, just all that out of the way. What I decided to do with these is I decided to use these two exotic feathers, and then this one right here is also a chicken feather, and it came from my neighbor's house. Remember, I told you on the last hat that sometimes I'll go over and give his chickens treats and stuff like that. So if they've dropped any beautiful feathers, I will pick them up and bring them home and clean them. Okay. So that's where this one came from. These came from, were a gift to me, but they were actually in a grouping of things that were in a planter. I guess you could say it was a really foo-foo planter. So I repurposed them, and I chose these right here. This is the angle I'm going to put them in at. So what you will do when you get to this juncture, I'm going to take these out very carefully. All right. Okay. So this one's going to go. Now, when I glued down my hat band, I left a space right here because I knew that feathers were going to go in there. So I left the little space open right here from the glue so I could get the shaft of the feather down in there. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a spot of either super glue or a jeweler's glue or the E6000 even, which since I've been using that, I will go ahead and be using that. All right. You're going to put a dot on your, just a kind of a dot like that on your toothpick or whatever. You're going to take your feather, because the back of the feather is what's going to go next to the hat. So you want to take that glue and run it up the shaft of the feather. Okay. And then just a tiny bit on the front of it down at the very, very bottom. You don't want to separate too many of your feathers. Okay, so once you've done that, you will stick it underneath the band wherever it is you wanted it to go. Okay, and I'm kind of wanting this one to go at an angle, so I'm going to put him in at an angle. It's hard for you to see, I know, because I'm working at an angle, so to speak. All right, so that's down in there. All right, the next one, same thing. Gonna get a little spot of glue like that. Just a little tiny dabble right there. Take the back of the feather on the shaft. Come up it about half an inch. And then whatever's left over right on the front like that. And you're going to take it and stick it into the next place. I'm going to stand him up just a little bit more. Okay. And then I'm taking the last one. Taking the back of the feather, right up that shaft, and a little bit on the front, like so. And then I'm going to stick that one down in where I want it to go. Okay. And then make your adjustments while everything's wet. Okay. Don't wait till everything starts drying to make an adjustment because it'll damage your feather. But I'm taking my little pointer here and I'm kind of fluffing out the downy part of the feather and getting the feather, all the little parts of it going where it needs to go. Just take your time doing this. All right. So that's what it looks like. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm so excited about this project. Oh, I know this has been a long project, and I know that I was in and out of the camera because my workspace is just not quite big enough for this kind of thing. But how exciting and fun is this? Would this not make a cool Christmas gift for someone? And also a cool gift for you. Okay, if you got any inspiration today, please like and subscribe to my channel. Please leave me a comment or two. I will answer you. We are done with this wonderful project today, so I will see you on the next video. Bye.